So the first question then is from Elitza. Sorry if that's not pronounced correctly. Elitza, perhaps. And she asks, how to check a new niche and for how long? I'm teaching movement, helping women to release back pain, tension and stress through anatomy-based, trauma-informed methods. It requires getting in touch with the body and developing body awareness versus mechanical exercise. I'm not getting enough clients, although I've done lots of point of view work for almost 2 years now. And also I get good feedback on my work. I'm thinking of switching niche to and go for something like movements for musicians instead. I'm a classical musician myself, and other musicians, actors, artists seem to get the biggest benefits from my work compared to others. Could this be a niche? What's the easiest way to test it, and for how long? Thank you.
Okay. What was the very first sentence of it?
She said, how to check a new niche and for how long?
Got it. Yeah. Well, it's a good question because, of course, the dynamic that can happen is people throw good money after bad. You know, they see old W.C. Fields line. He said, if at first you don't succeed, try again. If you still don't succeed, quit. Don't be a damn fool. So there is such a thing as you just you keep your money on a losing horse for too long. So that's important to know for all of us. Sometimes you really do have to change your approach or pivot, as most of us are sick of doing after the last 3 years. Right, but how do you test? What's the criteria you use to test? And I would say before you pivot on niche, there's a few things to check. So there's 3 roles of marketing, these 3 in this order. You get their attention, you filter, and then you lower the risk of taking the next step. So to me, one of the first questions is just, are you even getting attention of enough of the right people? Because if you have no traffic to your website, nobody sees your stuff, you have an email list with 10 people on it, then you don't know if it's the niche. This may just be a numbers thing. It may be you're actually getting a very high response rate, but not a big enough sample size. Second thing is the filtering. So within filtering, and this is where a lot of the niching would come in, there's relevance, credibility, and value. So most of the niching conversation would happen at this relevance level of, you know, you have attention of enough of the right people, that you're in front of a big enough audience, but maybe what you're doing is not relevant to them or not articulated in such a way that they can see it. So for example, helping women with their back pain versus helping musicians with whatever their issues are. And I think even that could be honed a bit more than was said, not just movement for musicians, but you could hone a bit more. But so it may be that people see it and they say, oh, that's nice that she's doing that, but there's no really narrow and deep relevance. But then it could be the credibility piece. It could be that, no, it's relevant. And but I just don't trust her yet. I don't know her well enough. And then it could be the value piece. It could be, the niche is good enough. People do trust you, but you haven't come up with the right offer at the right price. And then it might not be any of that. It could be that all of those things check out and the risk is too high. People see, oh, there's value and there's just too much risk. So that's a general thing I would say in terms of determining if it even is the niche. Once we've sort of located the no, it is probably the niche, that's probably what it is, then there are a number of things. And there's 2 different models you could apply to this. So one is there's 3 criteria of an ideal client or a target market. One is it clear? Like, do I know if I'm in that group immediately or not? So women with back pain, I mean, it's clear. So on the target market level, let's just say it checks out. Now, it's not so unique, but certainly you would know if you are that thing. Second, are there enough of them who can afford to pay the full price? Yeah, I would assume for that one. And then can you find them? Are there hubs? this is where that one falls down a bit. I mean, do women with back pain all congregate in the same place? Now, there are certain hubs, probably acupuncturists, osteopaths, chiropractors, maybe fitness trainers, where they will go. And the musician thing will be easier because there are much, I think, clearer hubs for musicians. And probably even musicians who are interested in holistic things, there are probably hubs and communities for that. And there's this other piece, though, of even if you determine, no, it's good enough, it's clear, there's enough of them, and no, there are hubs, one of the questions then is, how many other people are there offering help? Because it may be that, and maybe that, no, it's not a target market thing per se, it's clear enough if you were the only one offering it. But if you go down to the harbor and you say, hey, can you get me from island A to island B, and there's 1,000 boats, now you're in trouble. And so I'd recommend for that one, go to YouTube and just search Tad Hargrave Positioning Matrix, and that's the one I would dive into. And then the last piece is, there's these 4 levels. You can check out a video of 4 levels of an ideal client on YouTube. And the most important thing for 1,000 points is the bullseye. Do we have the issue? Then it's the psychographics, then demographics, quality. So more in that video, but you could add more psychographics. Like, what are the scenes and communities they're part of? What's the worldview? So how do you check? I mean, all those things can help check to determine. How long do you check for? I don't know. How much money do you have? You can do, PJ Harris, who's in the membership, she does Facebook ads. And I think it's a really smart idea. She uses Facebook ads to help determine, to help people figure out their target market. What is it that people are actually responding to? I think that's a great idea. You spend a little bit of money on some Facebook ads and you can get a lot of feedback. So even movement for musicians, you could test that one against back pain for musicians, or arm pain for musicians, or neck pain for musicians, or stiff musicians, or all these things, and you could start to see which one they maybe most respond to, and that might be able to help you check. But yeah, if you're not getting any response, if you put something out, there's no response, that's a huge flashing stop, like red sign, and something needs to be done at that point. Yeah, how long if it doesn't work once, you have to reevaluate. You have to go through that whole thing and figure out why it didn't work. It's not like, oh, well, just try it for a year. If you get no response, now, if you're getting a kind of tepid, but whatever response you're getting, if it's not the response you want, it's so critical to urgently, immediately figure out why. Because if you know, no, we got the niche and the offer's good, the credibility's good, everything in place, you just need to reach more people. That's a different thing than, wow, this offer went out to a big crowd and no response at all. That tells you something. So yeah, I'll just leave it there.
Okay, thanks, Ted. Elisa, hopefully that helps. Let us know how you get on.